All right, we've been out in the desert for a couple of days now. We're a little bit worse for wear, but nonetheless, we've made it over here to the Israel side of the Dead Sea. We're now standing in front of Qumran caves. This is where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. We wanted to visit Jericho today, but because of the lateness of the afternoon and getting delayed at the Israel checkpoint, we're not going to be able to do that. But I want to talk for a minute about this dynamic of strongholds. Jericho was a stronghold that had been established here by the Canaanites, and of course Moses and the Israelites came across the Jordan River, and that was their first big victory. And it's sort of like demolishing a criminal stronghold when you think about it. There's a 6-step battle plan that we've used in the past in order to demolish these criminal strongholds. And the first part is to prepare the army. You never go into battle without a properly prepared army. That's what basic training is all about. That's why it's so important to spend some time training in police dynamics and these character-based principles before actually attacking a criminal stronghold. And then secondly, to organize the resistance. These are the good people that are still living in the stronghold. They're behind enemy lines, so to speak, and you need to enlist their aid. And they're hard to find, the good people, the law-abiding people, because they're scared. And the last people that they want to affiliate themselves with, at least publicly, are you, the police, because they're afraid of retaliation. So it's very important to bridge that gap, begin to organize the resistance, give them some training, get them on board, get that stakeholder interest on their part. And then thirdly, to breach the wall. And by that I mean you have to find a weak point. You find something good and positive going on there in the stronghold, whether it be some type of faith-based organization or a community-based organization of some type that you can, that's already there, already established, that you can begin to build those relationships with and establish yourself in that stronghold through some of the relationships that have already been built. That's what I mean by breaching the wall. Next is purifying the hood. These are your neighborhood cleanup efforts. But let me tell you, as important as they are, by themselves they do very little. They've got to be part of an organized, comprehensive plan, or your neighborhoods, you'll go in there and you'll clean them up, and a month later you can't even tell that you've been through there. So there's some dynamics involved in getting that community ownership, that coactive response in your neighborhood cleanup efforts to purify the hood. Next, we want to parade the troops. This is where we actually make a police presence in the community. Now, in some cases, and I've done this in probably a dozen strongholds, is we will actually go in and have an official parade, a law enforcement and public safety parade. And the way that we've done it in the past is to hand out flyers announcing this event, get your fire department involved. They love to cook. People will come out if there's food. Get the kids involved. We'll get a permission form for the kids to take home to their parents, because we don't want the kids to watch the parade. We want the kids to be the parade. We want them in the patrol car, on the fire truck, in the ambulance, as part of the parade, because what are we trying to do? We're building that relationship with the next generation. And lastly, we want to establish a permanent presence. Just driving through a neighborhood, that's a temporary presence. If you're on patrol, that's a reactive approach to policing. And it doesn't do a whole lot. A temporary presence will have a temporary effect. If you want a permanent effect, you must have a permanent presence. So we establish community substations. I'm a big advocate of this. And one of the things I tell the community is, look, we don't have a budget for this. If you want us to have a presence in your neighborhood, you've got to find us a place. And we've done them in storefronts, we've done them in community centers, we've done them in houses, and we've even used inmate labor at times to go in and rehab these houses, so that we'll have a place, a sign that we put up in front, police community substation. We don't staff them 24/7. We can't afford to do that, to have enough manpower. But I actually would have slick-sleeved deputies with no rank that had a fully equipped office in one of these neighborhood substations that we had in some of our strongholds throughout the jurisdiction. And by establishing that permanent presence, you will have more of a permanent effect, even if it's not staffed 24/7. So it's a 6-part battle plan: prepare the army, organize the resistance, breach the wall, purify the hood, parade the troops, and establish a permanent presence.